I'm Sienna Taylor from Georges River Grammar here today at the University of Wollongong. Welcome to the spot. Today we have a very special guest with us, Tania Brown, Lord Mayor of Wollongong. How are you today?
I'm wonderful, and it's great to be here with you all.
Beautiful. So tell us, you're marking your first year of mayorship. How's it been?
It's been a crazy year. My very first appointment 1 year ago was this event here with your predecessors, and it was wonderful to join them. And then over the year, I think I'm starting to get the flow of it. There's a lot of council meetings and briefings that happen, but also wonderful community events that I get to go to and cut ribbons and cut cakes and do all that sort of stuff. But I'm also pushing a few strategic projects. So happy to do more than just cut ribbons, but to actually work to improve things for our community.
Beautiful. So when you say you want to do more than just cut ribbons, what more do you want to do?
Yeah, well, I've set up the office of the general manager, which is a new role at council. We've had a general manager, obviously, but we've now got some staff that's helping me run some strategic projects. I'm pushing to get a cruise terminal located at the port of Port Kembla. We know that the Sydney port is at capacity. A lot of the cruise ships that come in now can't fit under Sydney Harbour Bridge. So the government has to find a new location. And I think it's between us and Newcastle, and I'm telling the government that Wollongong's the right choice. So I've put a prospectus together. I've met with the Premier and ministers. I've brought a group of the neighbouring councils together to back my pitch, and I'm working on that. So we won't have a decision on that in the short term, but it's one that will bring jobs and investment to Wollongong. And that's what I'm about, making sure that we've got jobs for the children of the future and that. Good opportunities. And when I walk around town, a lot of people stop me and say they can't wait to get a cruise ship out of Port Kembla rather than travelling up to Sydney.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things I'm working on.
Do you think it would be realistic?
I think it is because we know that cruise is growing as an industry. And as I say, the ships are getting bigger. They have to go somewhere. And we have one of the deepest harbours on the east coast of Australia. So I think Port Kembla is the right choice. And a turnaround port means that the ship is based here. So there's stevedoring jobs, there's provisioning jobs. Someone has to provide the food, the beverage that goes on board. You have crew and staff that will meet the passengers. People will come to town, hopefully the day before, and stay overnight. So the other thing, a byproduct of this is I want more hotels in the city.
Mm.
And if you've got a cruise terminal, it builds up the business case for hotels. So my evil plan is get the cruise terminal, hotels will come with it, and it'll also benefit our surrounding council areas because people will then say, oh, I'm going to go to Jamboree Recreation Park or I'm going to go up to the Highlands and visit a winery. So they'll spend their money in the region and that lifts all of our council areas.
Yeah, it's a wonderful goal to have for Wollongong. So, as you can see, we have a couple future journalists here at this university, and they're going to ask you a couple questions. So, we have our first speaker, Chris.
Christ- Hi. Christopher Benham from Janai High. Lord Mayor, how do you think, what is your opinion on the social media ban?
Well, that's a tough one. And I'm very grateful that I didn't have children times. And I think it's going to be a hard one to monitor it. I do think we need to do something to protect younger children because there's just so much misinformation out there. My daughter, who's 38, and I had a conversation last night about we just don't know what to trust. What's AI? What's real? I said I saw a story about Trump or someone's marriage breaking down, and I just have no faith that that's a real thing. So where do we get our news from that's trusted? And I think the misinformation that happens on social media is something we need to try and prevent. But I do think children need access to information. What the age is right, I'm not sure of. Thankfully, it's not an area I have to make legislation on. But I do think we need to do things better in that regard and make sure that the information people are getting is factual and accurate.
Yeah, 100%. Thank you, Chris. We have Gemma.
Hi, Gemma.
Hi, my name's Gemma from England High. My question is, did you always want to be mayor? And if you did, who was your idol or person that you would look up to?
Well, no, it wasn't my intent at all. And I worked for some politicians over the years, and I was the person behind the minister saying, don't forget to say this, don't forget to say that. And then I came here to work at the University of Wollongong. And as I moved through my career, I realised that things were happening that I had an opinion about. And by getting on local council, I would be able to make a difference for my community. I've been on council for 8 years now, and then ended up being deputy for 5 years. And once I was in the deputy role, I was like, well, I think I could do this. And Wollongong's never had a female Lord Mayor. So I was honoured to be the very first one. And that certainly has been well received by young women in the community and migrant women. A lot of them were coming up to me in those first few months, sort of fist bumping and saying, yeah, yeah, you did it. And it's if you can't be it, you can't see it, is very real. So it's an honour to be a role model. For me, people I looked up to, I'm a big Julia Gillard fan. I think she had an incredible tough time in the way she was vilified for her gender. The things she did, had a man done them, nothing would have been said. And the amount of legislation that she got through is pretty impressive. So she's certainly someone I admire.
Yeah, beautiful. We have Megan next.
Hi, Megan.
Mail. My name is Megan. I'm from Port Hacking High in Sutherland. My question to you is 1 year into being the mayor, what have you done so far to help the young people of Wollongong and their education?
So I'm making sure that we're acknowledging and welcoming everyone. Wollongong is a very diverse community. I got the first rainbow crossing out on Cliff Road, making sure that people in this community know they are welcome no matter who they love. So that's something I'm very proud of, and making sure that we continue to be a diverse and inclusive organisation is very important. I personally have a bit of a campaign on civics and governance, and I've been travelling to some of our primary schools to talk to them about the levels of government, because most young people aren't interested in civics. And as they become adults, they have no clue when they come up to me and say, what are you going to do about, as happened yesterday, spams and how people's bank accounts are getting attacked? That's the federal government, it's not council. So people don't get the three levels of government. And so I'm going into the primary schools, talking to them about how legislation happens. We make it in a bit more fun way than just talking about legislation. Last year, I spoke to a group from Dapto Primary School, and their pool had been closed because the gas filter system had broken. A lot of our pools were built in the 50s and 60s. The technology's failing. So they said to me, why can't we have free access to our pool? Because it's a heated pool, we do charge for it. So out of that conversation, we introduced a summer voucher system where they could have free access to the pool at Dapto. And I'm hoping we're going to do that again this summer. And that came out of a conversation with a year six class.
That's amazing.
There's a follow up. I like that.
Do you have anything specific that you're looking to improve for their future?
Well, I think making sure that Wollongong is a place where they can afford to buy a home. You know, housing affordability is a big issue that affects all levels of government, and it's not just for council to solve, but making sure that we've got the policy setting right so that my children and their grandchildren, also my grandchildren, can afford to buy a home here. Because if they can't afford to live here, they won't be able to work here. And we need to make sure we've got homes for our workers, the teachers, the nurses, the firemen, the police, all of those services. Who's going to make our coffee? Got to have people that can afford to live in a community to make a thriving community. But I want to make sure Wollongong stays livable. We've got 17 patrolled beaches here in the Wollongong region, and many people from southwest Sydney travel to Wollongong as their beach. So I want to make sure that our amenity is nice, that people are happy to come here and enjoy living here.
Yeah, thank you, Megan. We have Selena next.
Hi, Selena.
Morning, Lord Mayor. I'm Selena from Amity College, and my question is, according to the ABS, Wollongong's population is expected to increase by 77,000 people by 2040. How does the council expect to deal with this growth, and where shall the funding come from?
That's a big question, Megan. Was Megan?
That was Selena.
Selena, I apologise. And I think I was doing a speech yesterday that said we're going to have 300,000 people here by 2046. So again, where are they going to live is the big issue. And we're doing a development out at West Dapto that is a township the size of Wagga. So we're building 5 suburbs out there. making sure that we've got a range of housing is council's role. We don't just want to build B houses. We've got to make sure there's townhouses and units, on that range of affordability. So making sure there's houses at West Dapto. But I'm also looking at council's assets and saying what could be used for better community benefit. Is there pockets of land that council has that we could give to a housing provider to provide social housing and affordable housing? So we're actively looking at doing that.
Yeah, thank you. We have Janya next.
Hello there, I'm Janya from Kia Hai. My question is, how is the council helping improving transport to ensure that it's efficient and reliable?
So transport is a state government issue, but we work with Transport for New South Wales very closely. We contribute to the Gong shuttle. The locals will know of the bus that travels here to the university and picks up the hospital and into town and the beaches. The council puts in $1 million, as does the university, to the state government to make sure that that free service stays. And it is the most popular bus route in the state. It helps that it's free. This is why it's very popular, but it keeps cars off the road. And it's important that as a council, we look for other opportunities to stop people driving. So many people drive within 1 and 2 kilometres to get to their work, and I'm as guilty of that as anyone. But we've introduced e-scooters in Wollongong. So I nearly got an e-scooter home last night, but I decided to walk. I needed the steps instead. But we've got to have active transport routes. So for council, it's about bike paths, and we're building more east-west links. We've had a lot of north-south along the beach, but we need to make sure people can ride their bike to uni from town. A lot of our students live in unit accommodation in the city, so making sure there's improved footpaths, bike paths, shared cycleways is an important part that council plays in making sure we get people to leave their cars at home.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you, Tanya. We have Emily next.
Hello.
Good mate. I'm Emily from OLMC Barony. What is the biggest challenge that you faced in your first year as mayor?
Well, I think living up to everyone's expectations was the big challenge at first. Everyone said, "Oh, you're going to make Wollongong great again," and I'm like, "I think it's already pretty great." So managing that expectation, and personally, I wanted to make sure I do a good job. As I mentioned, being the first female Lord Mayor put a bit of pressure on. But I decided I've just got to go in, boots and all. And over my whole year, we counted up yesterday, and I've done over 360 community events and external meetings. So I'm working hard. I think, as I said, I set a high bar for myself. But I'm also running a council that is acting very professionally and collegiately and dealing with each other with respect. And I think that's the important thing to send to the message to our community, that we are the board that's running this town. And if we treat each other with respect, listening to each other, setting a positive example, I think it's a good thing for all of the community.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Thank you. We have Ivan.
Hi, Ivan.
Oh, uh, looking back, is there anything you would have done differently during your first year?
Well, that's a hard question too. Well, I think you're always learning. So, you should review things, think how you could do things differently. I think I probably shouldn't have set such a high bar and getting to so many events. That's been a bit exhausting. But no, I think, as I say, getting that council to run in a constructive way has been good. And there's learnings from that. At the last council meeting, I did have to kick someone out of the room, a member of the public, which was a pretty sad display. But I learnt from that experience how to handle, disruptive members of the public. So I think we're always learning, but I don't think there's anything too big that I would change. Thanks, Ivan.
Yeah, that's a nice question. Thank you. We have Tilly.
Hi, Tilly.
Hi, Lord Mayor. I'm Tilly from OMC Barony, and what do you believe your biggest achievement since being mayor is?
So, as I said to you, I've got to make sure it's more than ribbon cutting and cutting birthday cakes, which is a key part of the ceremonial role of council. But I've worked with the 8 councils that take up this region. So Illawarra takes up Wollongong, Shellharbour, Clammer, Shellhaven. But I've reached over the escarpment to Camden, Campbelltown, Wingecarribee and Wallandilly, and have formed an alliance that we're calling the LG8, so Local Government 8. And yesterday we had a workshop with the 8 mayors and general managers and started to talk about if we act as a mega region, what will that mean? Because so much of our community lives here, works there, people live up there, work here. So we're already acting as a bigger community, but we're 8 separate governments. But I think if we use our collective voice to go to state government and to federal government and say, when you look at this region, we deliver 10% of the productivity of the state. We've got the largest growth centres happening in Camden, Campbelltown. Wingecarribee is huge. Wallandilly is growing with Picton and Appin. These are where the growth centres are. This is where the future population is. So the road and rail infrastructure that has to come with that is so important. You've got the second airport happening in Western Sydney. We've got the Port of Port Kembla, a major freight corridor. So I think the 8 councils working together rather than just Wollongong on its own or Camden on its own is going to be a big shift in how the dynamics of advocacy happen. And when we met yesterday, we talked about adventure tourism. Now, you're getting the exclusive here. No one else knows about this. But we've just opened mountain bike parks up at Mount Kembla. There is skydiving, there are hot air balloons happening at other council areas. So if our 8 councils come together and say, we are the adventure tourism region of the state, and when you fly into Western Sydney, come down to here and spend your money because that's what it's about. I think that's going to be a game changer for the future. So I was really excited that we didn't just sit there and say, we want more money from government and put our hand out. We actually said, what's a positive that can come out of this in action and advocating for that tourism spend for our visitor economy. I think it's going to be a big one. So watch out for that in the future.
Some very interesting insights.
Yeah.
Are the other councils involved and are they on board?
Yeah, they were very excited by it because, they have a lot of things that happen out, bushwalking, as they mountain biking. Other places have zip lines and things down in the Shoalhaven. So they're excited to get on board. And then if we market it together as a region, when you travel around our community, you don't know when you cross a local government border.
Mm.
You don't care. Especially tourists don't care what council they're in. They just want to know that they've come and had a wonderful experience. And that's what we want to give them with a combined marketing push.
Yeah, perfect. So next we have Alicia.
Hi, Alicia.
Hi, it's nice to meet you. I'm Alicia O'Keefe and I'm from Wollongong High School. Being the first female Lord Mayor, what advice do you have for aspiring young politicians?
Um, well, I think it's important that they know what's happening in their community. I would say get involved in whether it's a school group or a charity. Start to, get your feet wet in how it is to deal with people around a board table. I started out as the secretary of the PNC at my kids' primary school. And most of us start in that sort of role, whether it's in a sporting organisation. So I would get involved in that sort of thing. I would make sure you're reading the news and not just getting it off TikTok, and try and find out if it's real news, not fake news, as they say. But I think just getting involved in something that you're passionate about is so important. And that's why I say most people start with a sporting group and do what you can and get to understand how it is to work within that structure. I think it's a great way to start on the journey.
Yes. Thank you, Alicia. And next we have Penny. Hi, Penny.
Hi, I'm Penelope Church from Bulli High School, and I was just wondering if there are any events you're hoping to bring to the Wollongong area soon?
We have so many events coming at the moment, Penny. We've got the netball, the Opals are playing an international game here on the 8th of October. We've got the World Triathlon happening here from the 15th to the 19th of October. Destination Wollongong and Council keep bringing events here. We want to be the event capital. We had yours and ours in March, I think it was. 28,000 people came here and enjoyed that. I was up on the hill at Flagstaff Hill dancing to the Veronicas and Hockey Dad. I didn't know who Hockey Dad was, let's be honest, but it was great. But if we can bring more events and festivals like that for a range of demographics, we've got an open street festival happening up in Thirroul you might want to go to. That's in your neighbourhood, happening at the end of November. I'm very keen to have more events out in the suburbs so that everyone can walk to them if able. But for the locals, not just for people outside of the region. But World Triathlon is going to be the exciting one over the next 6 weeks. Wollongong is the place to be.
Yeah, we can't wait for that triathlon. And last but not least, we have Mia.
Hi, Mia.
Hello, Lord Mayor. My name's Mia, and I'm from Ulladulla High School. And my question was, how does Wollongong collaborate with the Shoalhaven City Council to ensure things run smoothly?
Well, as I said, I've brought that group of 8 councils together. Mayor White and I are meeting quite regularly to discuss how, as women in these roles, we can work closer together. And it's important. When they had their bushfires and had issues, we sent crews down to help. When they needed power generators, we sent that down. So we are already working collaboratively. We have a group called the Illawarra Shoalhaven Joint Organisation, which the 4 Illawarra Shoalhaven councils get together every month or so, and I'm the deputy chair of that. So we worked well together at that political level, but at an operational, we're there to provide assistance, particularly when natural disasters strike, because we know Shoalhaven has a very big geographic area. Potholes is always an issue down there. And as councils, we try to help each other out. So, and I think that's working well.
Yeah, so that's been everyone. Thank you for answering all these questions. Do you have anything else you'd like to add?
No, I think you've all done a wonderful job. I've been interviewed by quite a few journalists, and I loved the follow-up question. That was really good. But I just love that you're looking at journalism as a career because it's such an important role. We need people who will ask the tough questions, who will do the follow-up question and not back down and just believe what you're being told. It's important we have people that will drill down and get to the truth. So I hope this is your chosen career, and I wish you all very well.
Well, thank you again, and thank you for letting us put you on the spot. I'm Sienna Taylor, and I'm here today at the University of Wollongong. This has been The Spot.
Good job.
Whoa, I can breathe again.